Firstly, let me thank the organizers of SIMSAC 10 for inviting me to make a presentation on tree crop spices. The area that I will cover is mainly on cinnamon, that is all cinnamon, including cassia, titchpat, the whole lot that I have taken into account in the statistics, clove, and nutmeg and mace. Their production, export, import statistics, and future trends. 2020 full year and 2021 I have made a projection are estimated on available trade sources from the various production and exporting points. Getting reliable up-to-date statistics is extremely difficult, particularly in production. It is our duty to be accurate as possible. I have used in production mainly FAO statistics that was available up to 2019, and I have collated from trade sources for 2020. And for 2021, I have used UN data and collated by International Trade Center. So first one is the cinnamon global production. I have taken all types of cinnamon in, and we have slowly but steadily growing in production. From 2015 to 2019, we have grown. And in 2020 also, from my Sri Lankan and Indonesian counterparts who have given me information, we have grown. That's for sure. And this is one of the success stories in Sri Lanka. Due to COVID, most of the other exports came down, but cinnamon maintained and slightly grew. So we believe that in 2021 also we will reach about 250,000 over 250,000 metric tons. And this augurs well. Sri Lanka has steadily increased the area of cultivation and productivity. Actually, the yield per acre, that is what we are now concentrating on. Introduction of semi-mechanization in harvesting, processing, better agronomic practices has helped this increase in yield. Now we are going to see fairly substantial gain in the next 3 years, but because these were introduced in 2019-20. So cinnamon generally takes about 3.5 to 4 years for the first crop to be harvested. But with new agronomic practices and better climate control in irrigation and so forth, we have now brought it down between 2.5 to 3.5 years for serious farmers who have been following the correct agronomic practices. Indonesia continued to be the largest producer. That's mainly the Protein-G, cassia, and the material cinnamons that they produce, maintaining its production levels. China is now a close second in production and is likely to overtake Indonesia if the current trends continue. China has developed machinery for mechanized processing, particularly in cassia. They have now developed mechanized processing, and it is mainly implemented and by a major company based in China. So we'll see yields, the production increases, and probably productivity increase. Vietnam has consistently increased cassia production over the 2015 to 2000 period and is likely to maintain this growth as new farmers are preferring cinnamon cassia to pepper with the drop in prices, because the next slide I will show you the prices of cinnamon have remained constantly growing. Madagascar and African origins will also be increasing their production of cinnamon. Mainly, Tanzania is now on a concentrated effort from a very low base to increase its production. Next slide, please. These are the exports. The exports in volume, metric tons have slightly increased, but from 2017 still to increase into slightly, but 2017 was a peak. But in value terms in US dollars, it has been consistently increasing gradually. So we see the trade has built up to almost sorry, can you go back to the earlier slide, please? These imports, the earlier slide, right? So we can see that we have a slightly maintaining the production in quantities, but it's likely to increase. Though I have given a very marginal increase for 2021, we believe that it will be uh, more, but to be prudent, I have given a very nominal figure. But value has been consistently maintaining. You can see from 2021 figures, 2020 figures and 2019 figures, we have way above 740,000 million metric US dollars. So, and the quantity also is going to reach over 155,000 in 2021. Next slide, please. The imports have marginally increased in volume, but you can see the difference in price. Particularly cinnamon and cinnamon cassia also increased in unit term prices over the last 4 years. So you can see the in volume terms, United States of America being the largest, followed by Mexico. And in value terms, it is Mexico that followed by United States of America and Peru. Mexico and lower half of United States and Peru pay premium prices for Ceylon cinnamon, high quality, high end grades. Next slide, please. I go to cloves. The clove production was one of the most difficult numbers to get through. But anyway, we see that a major decline in production in 2017. I believe it was a cyclone or whatever that took place. But gradually it is coming back to the levels of 2016. But I believe that we will reach about 181,000 tons from the 175,000 tons in 2019. Cloves production, Indonesia continues to be #1 producer, sustaining its production quantities. Madagascar sustains its production, followed by Tanzania, Sri Lanka, and Comoros. India is also a large producer, but it's one of the largest consumers. Kenya, very interesting to note that Kenya and China are showing gradual increases. They are coming, their numbers are being shown, but I believe it will go up in the next 10 years because clove trees take quite a few years. Next, please. Clove exports, you can see the quantity has been static, but you can see the price variation. The peak was in 2017, the value, and then it has gone up, but now it is on a plateau, but slightly, I'm projecting a slight increase in the years 2021. Basically, from quantity in about 130,000 metric tons, in value going to about 340 million US dollars. In clove exports, Indonesia, Madagascar were the lead exporters, followed by Sri Lanka, Tanzania. In value, Madagascar followed Indonesia. Actually, Madagascar got a better US dollar value, and in Sri Lanka. Next slide, please. Clove imports. You can see there is a drop in the clove imports. Now, this is from in cloves, in the imports, the volume. So probably we will see the prices plateaued, or if there's only a shortfall, that the prices and the volumes may slightly go up. So we are talking in terms of about a $318 million import and about 53,500 export. So you can see the value addition that is taking place at the import level. The clove import remains static between 2015 and 2020. Volume in volume metric tons, India was the leading importer, followed by Indonesia. Indonesia is also imported due to the Kretek cigarettes. Singapore is a trading hub, and United Arab Emirates also a trading hub, and Saudi Arabia is also importing fairly large quantities of cloves. Next slide, please. Nutmeg and maize, FAO gives the statistics with cardamom. there is no separation of statistics available without cardamoms from FAO. That's the only reliable published source of the statistics available. Production has been slightly growing from 2015 to 2020. Indonesia is the biggest producer, followed by India, Guatemala, Sri Lanka, and Grenada. So we are talking about a production of about 144,650 metric tons. 144,650 metric tons. Next slide, please. Nutmeg and maize exports, again, we see a marginal increase, but very static. If you look at it, very static. 2015, the production has been very static, and then value terms, Grenada, followed by St. Vincent and Sri Lanka were in the top 3 in value levels. Next, please. Global imports remain erratic, like the W curve, in a W curve, but increased between 2015 to 2020. In value, in volume terms, you're talking about 13,500 metric tons. This figure is, I believe, is not correct to a great extent, but I verified personally with ITC and UN data, and this is the totally added figures from all sources. Then we are talking about $232 million of imports. Next slide, please. Actually, these are the challenges that we have already faced and we will face in the near future. The impact of the climate, the global warming, erratic weather patterns, increase in frequency and severity of cyclones will impact production. Likely to see, probably we will see with these weather changes, the cropping seasons and patterns will either start earlier or start later, and may stretch. Like we will see a change in the cropping patterns. Indonesia, Madagascar, the Caribbean islands were affected by the cyclones in the near past, and I believe that is predicted in 2021 as well. We are going to see something. So it all depends the severity of these cyclones and weather patterns. So like one of the earlier speakers presented, we need to mitigate the climate change by because we are seeing very frequent too much rain, too much drought in very short spells. So we need to retain the water in the soil. So we have to have good agronomic practices and irrigation methods developed to maintain this tree crop prices. The impact of COVID, I mean, go into very much detail. We all know to the level that we have been affected the countries. Fortunately, agriculture was not affected to that extent. But we know the countries have suffered tremendously. Their gross domestic product in most countries declined substantially and continues to stress the economies. Devastated some of the industry sectors, the airline industry, the travel trade, the garment industry. Some of the major retailers have gone bust. So we don't know who's next. So we have to be very, very careful with COVID. So some established large corporates in certain sectors have filed for bankruptcy. We know how many have lost in our region, how many have lost their jobs and their livelihood. And it has become a big problem for the governments of Latin America, Africa, Sri Lanka, and Asia to sustain their population by pumping a lot of liquid cash into the economic system. Now, these are also going to have repercussions. So these are the COVID impact issues. We all know that these challenges of COVID, we have never seen this type of challenge in our lifetime. With the vaccination programs being started in most countries, I believe there will be some developments taking place for positively, but no one knows how long these vaccinations are effective, whether it is 6 months, 1 year. So we are still to see a proper relief period. Most developing countries in Latin America, Africa, and Asia have been impacted by the shortage of foreign currency for imports and are compelled to restrict imports, thereby further reducing global trade. I'll just give with our good Indian friends, we always interact with India, with the Spices Board, the ISF, the Research Institute. One clear-cut example I'll give you of Sri Lanka has banned the import of ginger and turmeric. We don't even, in 2019, we didn't even produce 30% of our product needs. So most of it came from outside sources, mainly from India. Now we are growing, and the local price, due to the import ban, the local price of turmeric has shot to from $25 a kilo to almost $25 to $30 a kilo. So these are the impacts of COVID and restrictive measures that certain governments are taking, and this has a impact on trade. Whereas a few producing countries have been able to contain the spread of virus. Case in example is Vietnam, who has been able to somehow contain this COVID-19 virus to manageable levels. So if probably most other countries will be taking this into consideration and manage this better. I think most countries are now coming to terms on how to better manage the COVID-19 virus. Next slide, please. We predict increase in value addition because most countries, most companies, most producers are seeing that being in a commodity market is not going to get them much returns. So everybody now is trying to get into value addition jointly or with overseas connections, not only here but in all producing countries. India is far ahead in this. In this, probably Vietnam is also quite ahead of others. But most countries are expansion of the spice essential oils industry will grow as demand for such oils will increase. Expansion of the oleoresin industry also will take place along with the essential oil industry due to the increase in demand growth for newer products. Now, particularly, there is big demand due to COVID and the health benefits of spices. Demand for oleoresin, oil and oleoresin, mainly for ready to made drinks, both warm and cold drinks, and ready to use spices. So the demand is growing, but we may have to develop this. Now there is a big move of the tea industry to jointly develop tea drinks, ready to made drinks with spice, cinnamon, ginger, even turmeric, like that. It's adding up, clove. All these things are now being developed and now test marketed by some of these countries. Ginger and tea has been there for quite some time, but the others are now coming into play. Next slide, please. Sorry, I couldn't touch on the fractionates. Fractionates are also becoming in greater demand for pharmaceutical industries with new research and that is being developed and already done, and development of manufacturing technologies, particularly in the nutraceutical industry, where isolates are isolated from spice, the major spice or the oil or the oleoresin. So this is a new thing, and particularly in this field, we find that Switzerland, the research companies lead in the front uh, from Switzerland. Next slide, please. Sorry, back one back, please. Sorry. Right. There is we can see a very clear movement towards natural products, particularly most of in the developed countries. it's very clear because the demand for ready-to-use spices and ready-to-use drinks and things from spices have grown. Demand for natural products, especially spices, have shown keen interest, especially in the organic sector. Local consumption also of spice has increased, used to increasing the immune system. There is one on this organic area. There is one thing that is of concern. That is the new EU regulations that have been published and that were to come into effect from 1st January 2021, but now postponed to 1st January 2022. So most countries and blocs are negotiating with them on certain residue levels, which are probably impractical. So we have to be very careful to the research institutes will have to play a role in this, negotiating with the EU and getting practicable levels of residues. I believe that there will be a significant increase in investment in the spice industry. Since the collapse of certain industries, financial investments returns from banking industry is reducing. Most countries have reduced their lending rates and fixed deposit rates to levels that are people are finding it very difficult to get a return from their fixed income. So and the values of currency devaluing. Capital is being moved into agriculture as good agricultural lands are limited. There has been a significant increase in investment policies and also started mainly by the larger corporates who have now new source of investment who have not been in agriculture, wanting to get into agriculture. Larger plantation companies are moving to spices from other not so profitable crops with major investment. The key point is they are not only investing growing, they are also investing in downstream development of value addition. Particularly the rubber and the tea sectors are converting their uneconomic tea and rubber lands into spices, mainly in Sri Lanka, it's cinnamon, in some other countries, other profitable crops. Increase in production, spice production will also lead to significant growth on-farm employment opportunities. The spice industry is expected to create employment potential in production alone, as spice crops are labor intensive. This will be positive for returnees from the Middle East, like India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan have a lot of Middle East labor returning from the coming back to their countries. So we can find alternative employment in the spice sector, where they will not have to go thousands of kilometers, where they can work from their homes within 2 to 5, 10 kilometer distances. Further, there is a substantial scope for creating new jobs through value addition in spices, because here we see quite a few startups. Educated people from the West are returning because they lost their certain jobs in those countries, are returning back to their home bases, and they are starting up technology-based companies in the spice sector as well as other sectors as well. So we feel that new technology with AI and like Google research available, there will be startup companies with people with knowledge taking place. New scientific research that is available and also being conducted are highlighting the medicinal properties of spice. Just one example I would cite, because I think the Indian Institute of Spice Research knows more about this than any other organization. Just one example among many are the oxygen radical absorbent capacity of spice, mainly from tree crop spices. Now this has become a major, what is called ORAC. It has become a major interest in the scientific community. So they are trying to extract and deliver these type of free radicals to in a better way. So on a next slide, please. On a very positive note, I want to state that history has always proved that mankind has always overcome all the challenges posted, but only thing it's a matter of time, whether it is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, but we have always overcome. I am quite sure we will overcome this crisis as well, and everything augurs well, because new challenges bring new opportunities. So it's a matter of refocusing and doing these things. So I wish to finally thank the organizers of SIMSAC 2021 and wish them all success. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.